Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Suraj. I lead product marketing at ShareFile, and I'm joined by my good friend and colleague, John Bartel, who's the principal customer success engineer. Today is all about a simple goal that is less paperwork, more practice, right? We'll talk about how this goal or this mantra is something we use, or that we enable law firms to use, with their teams, with their client collaboration exercises and so on, so that work can move faster, teams can collaborate more securely, and keep focus on billable work and growing the business. ShareFile helps your law firm free up time for what matters most by streamlining legal workflows, by serving clients, and focusing, on more productive work like billables rather than spending time on manual work, on admin tasks, which is what we've seen a lot of firms struggle with, right? The intent here is to help you grow your business and actually do what you do best, that is practice law, and not spend time doing a lot of back and forth on following up for information, following up for documents with clients, or spending just too much time on collating things in one place and then getting started. So that also helps you reduce issues like client frustration. It helps you get moving faster on your casework or matter work, and that's essentially what we help law firms do here at ShareFile. When we say modern client experience, what we really mean is giving the client what they need, right? They need things, quickly. They need things moving quickly. That also means that you also need to receive the necessary information from your clients in a simpler, easier, quicker manner, right? Not rely on insecure email or on ad hoc document sharing through a shared through a public drive on the cloud, things like that. Essentially ensure that you're getting information in one place, you're getting it in an organized manner, and getting it quickly and securely. This also sort of helps create a very important layer, that is the visibility on the engagement process, right? Whether it's, whether the engagement is, at the onboarding phase, whether you get the information from the client, or whether things have already started moving, and if there is need for documents coming in further during the course of the engagement itself. It helps you give a clear visibility on where things are at the moment. That's essentially what we feel at ShareFile creates that overall modern client experience, right? In terms of process effectiveness, this is both from an internal employee productivity perspective and also in terms of how you orchestrate the entire engagement, with the stakeholders that you collaborate with. The idea is to automate work with minimal technical knowledge, right? Minimal technical know-how, so that when you start using the product, when you actually buy into the product, you can get going on day one, maximum on day three, given things like setting up the account, putting up your folders and creating the taxonomies and whatnot. But it should not require too much of a hassle to really get going and start creating value, right? And to do all of this in a secure manner, in a simplified manner, where automation and integration with key business applications that you rely on every day are built in, and things are kept compliant. I think that's essentially how simple we try to make ShareFile modern, efficient, and secure. Let's ground this in some sort of a reality, right? Lawyers spend almost half their day, which is about 40%, on administrative tasks, which is essentially time spent on things that are not really helping move the needle for the business as such, right? It's not really helping you create revenue. Billables is what helps create revenue. Now that is about 1/3 of the time. This is the case for most of the law firms out there, and if you're spending 2/3 of your time not able to create business revenue, that is not a great picture, right? Tech sprawl, which is essentially an overload of technology applications within the within your ecosystem, is slowing down productivity significantly as well, right? It slows down client communications, it slows down document workflows, and more importantly, it slows down case outcomes, right? And that's not a happy picture for the client. It's not a happy picture for for the teams that are really trying to solve for these case matters, things of that sort. It's not a happy picture for the overall industry as well. Another interesting challenge that we've sort of encountered a lot of law firms talk about, especially people who manage IT for law firms, and even small law firms who don't have dedicated IT folks have sort of echoed this thought, is information security is sort of a challenge, right? And if you look at the stat on the right, it's essentially 3/4 of legal professionals citing this as a major trend. Now, the legal industry has been, one of the prime targets for cybersecurity attacks, at least in the last 3 to 4 years. The number of cybersecurity attacks that have been pushed on to the legal industry of which comprises law firms of all sizes, has been growing about 20% year on year for the last 3 years. That is significant, right? These could be espionage scenarios. This could be just ransomware attacks. These could be many of other things, right, where somebody's trying to gain unauthorized access to sensitive information that could adversely impact clients' interests, right? How can you actually look at all of these challenges, but think of them more as opportunities to work smarter and achieve more? And that's essentially what we try to do at ShareFile for law firms, right? So we focus on 3 outcomes that guide pretty much everything, right? So one is helping you save time on routine tasks by streamlining processes with workflows that are purpose built for the legal industry. Now, these don't have to be extremely complex workflows. These are things that most business professionals, whether in the legal industry or adjacent industries, sort of work on day in and day out. How can we just create simple little improvements in those daily routine tasks and create efficiencies, right? That's one of the things that we focus on every time we build something new, as part of the product, right? Now, how we can help you elevate service delivery by making sure that all your parties, whether internal employees, legal assistants, paralegals, your co-counsels, and external parties such as your clients and possibly even opposing counsel or regulators, if there are certain audit scenarios that you're working on, how is everybody sort of aligned and and on the same page via simplified touch points through various interfaces is another element I think that helps us create success for the legal industry, right? And as you do all of these really good things that improve your productivity and elevate the way you deliver client experience, you make sure that there are robust tools and robust safeguards and guardrails built into your entire process, into your entire tech stack that you're using, that protect client trust and create that sense of confidence that yes, I'm working with a very good law firm here, right? That I'm in safe hands, that my case is in good hands, that I'm going to have a good outcome at the end of this, right? Now, here's the legal specific sort of structure for ShareFile, right? So it's kind of broken down into 3 buckets here: automate, collaborate, and secure, right? All the way from intake and discovery workflows, which essentially is obtaining all the information, all the documents that you need to get started on your case and matter work, to actually executing certain contracts with the client, and getting work started. And then also using things like AI, right? Now, AI can do a lot of things. What we do at ShareFile is we try to really, sort of take a more purpose-built approach to delivering AI. Can you do quick document reviews? Can you use things like summarizing a document with AI? Can you interact with the document in a Q&A format? Can you possibly even validate if the documents that you've got from your clients are the right documents that you needed? It should not be a case where a client meant to send you something else but ended up sending something else that's maybe sensitive for them in another engagement or just in their in their day of life. It's something they probably did not mean to send to you, but it came in that, it just becomes a very difficult conversation at that point, right? So can you solve things like that through automations that are built in the product, right? How can you collaborate with your clients instead of through emails or through shared drives? Can we create a dedicated client portal, whether on the web or as a mobile app, so the clients can collaborate with you no matter where they are, even if they're on the go or if they have certain paper documents? Can we make it easy for them to just pick up their phone, fire up the app, click a pic of the document, and send it to you as a PDF, right? Can you provide centralized access to all your casework, to the clients on a regular basis, right? So that's another element, right? And of course, we've also made sure, and in fact, this is one of the things that I think ShareFile is really well known for. It's something we take pride in. It's something we really wake up with every day with the thought of is security first, right? How do we help ensure that the platform, the product that you're using for your internal collaboration or for collaboration with your clients in terms of engagement with the clients, how do we make sure that there is security working 24/7 for you, right? How do you prevent unauthorized access? How do you possibly look at situations where there's an unusual spike of document downloads, right? Could that signal something unauthorized, some sort of an unauthorized access? Could it signal that the Chinese wall is sort of being broken when somebody is trying to access certain files that they should not be accessing or that they do not have access rights to? Can you prevent those scenarios, right, by making sure that role-based access control is built in and only people who need to look at a certain file have access to that file? Maybe they can only view the file and not download it, or maybe somebody has access to actually go ahead and download the file and file it in the courts, or somebody can even edit documents. So you can create these different layers of secure access control. In addition to security, we also make sure that we help with compliance support, right? Now, your business practice is as compliant as your business allows for it, as your people make sure in terms of how they comply with certain regulations. But from a technology standpoint, can we help you come one step closer to being compliant, right? Can we offer compliance support? So today we have a couple of compliance support mechanisms built into the product, which we've seen a lot of law firms also appreciate, and things that they sort of require because clients are from different industry verticals, and they have different kinds of data that they might be sharing with you, and they need these compliances to be in place for their own audit purposes, right? So this is beyond just helping you have a secure secure technology stack for your business. It also sort of looks at what are some of the things that your clients might want from a security and compliance perspective, and we solve for those as well, right? One of the things that we've refined over the last few months is something called as ShareFile projects, and this is something we'll go into during the demo. Here's a quick screenshot of projects. This is essentially a dedicated collaboration workspace where you can bring on your teams, you can add a client, and you can collaborate on documents, you can define tasks, you can define due dates, you can even interact around the documents on if there are certain questions that you've asked, or if the client has certain questions on, let's say, some sort of document that you've prepared, or case document that you've prepared, case strategy document, and you can just interact around the document through a commenting feature as well. So all of this is just in one place, right? The information requests or document requests that you might have with your clients, the tasks that you would assign to your teams with specific due dates, it essentially just helps you proceed with faster and more organized casework and deliver that great experience for everybody involved, right? This gives also clients a very secure and a clear way of what is needed, what is pending with them, things that they've already given to you. They can also sort of see if somebody picked it up, based on the comments. They can engage with with the particular people with team members of yours who are working on a certain document to see if there's any updates, if there are any queries there. And all of this, again, without chasing emails, without doing a lot of back and forth, which is a lot of admin routine task, which is just not really helping move the needle of the business. Neither is it, helping move the case forward, right? All of this in one place is essentially how we go about it. Right now, coming to AI, right? This again, like I said, it's purpose built. The way we look at deploying AI is not to slap AI on every feature or every capability within ShareFile, but it's built with the purpose to help you drive your business forward, right? To the point that we've seen about 34,000 documents every week being safeguarded against unauthorized sharing. So, for example, we have something called as a secure share recommender, which, when you're trying to share a file that might have, say, personally identifiable information or possibly patient health information, or any sensitive document, information like a credit card number even, the system looks for it, quickly scans for something like that, and flags it to you before you've shared the file with an external party, right? It basically questions you, hey, it essentially leaves the control in your hands. If you're comfortable sharing it, go ahead, but it kind of flags a notification to you before you've hit the share send button, saying, hey, this might contain PII. Do you really want to share it with so-and-so person, right? So this speaks to the scale of how much, sensitive data could have gone into the wrong hands. That doesn't, because we've built it, from a security first mindset, right? With an AI-powered document request list generator, this also helps you speed up the process, of creating that request list of the information or of the documents that you need from your clients. And with the fact that this is done through a secure client portal, through a centralized client portal, this can again speed things up significantly and get the case actually moving forward. And of course, we will look at all of these capabilities in the demo when John comes on. Before I actually hand this over to John, I want to share with you a couple of quotes that we've received from a customer of ours. This is speaking to how ShareFile actually delivers value for law firms. So Advos Legal actually says, ShareFile is powerful technology that is easy to use. It doesn't require a huge effort to implement. So it just goes back to the point of creating a modern experience that is simple to use, that is quick to use. So your time to value should be within a few minutes. That's the goal that we work with, right? All while delivering big wins in efficiency. So we spoke about how we can unlock productivity, whether it's with internal collaboration or external collaboration, through purpose-built functionality, right? Which is definitely, I think, of prime importance for small firms, because there is a shortage of talent, there is a shortage of time always, and there is just so much to do. There is just literally so many documents to look at, when you're picking up a case or a matter, to work for your client on. I have another, opinion that has been shared with an influencer from the industry, who's also looked at ShareFile with a critical eye, who says that this is a single tool that reduces manual workflow, manual processes, and simplifies work, right? With the understanding of looking at lawyers' key processes and identifying opportunities to enhance security, efficiency, and client service delivery, right? Again, like I said, we really, so legal for us, as ShareFile, it's our number 2 customer category, right? And that is significant for us, right? And so we take a lot of feedback from our customers in the legal space. We speak with a lot of industry influencers as well. We do a lot of our own research, third-party research, our own qualitative and secondary research, and we really look at what are things that are important for law firms today and tomorrow, and we build for that, while ensuring that everything is kept simple and that you have one interface to do a bunch of things, that's just simplify your workflow. Right. With that, I will hand this over to John to sort of walk you through ShareFile in action with a live demo.
All right, so let's jump into it. I think the first thing that we want to hit is our projects. As Suraj said, we've made quite a lot of advancements with projects as of recent. And just to recap what projects is, it's basically a containerized space for you to interact with your client in a more detailed fashion. If you're used to ShareFile, I'm sure most of you have touched ShareFile or own an account. You may be used to using folders, as you see on the left-hand side, where you could create such like a client portal where users can come in and download, upload files, view, edit, you name it. But projects really takes that next step and really gives you a uniformed way of interacting with the employee to a client. You can actually do this for an employee-to-employee interaction too. We don't restrict it based on that. It's only based on if I'm sharing this with somebody, what kind of level of permission will they have within the project itself. So I already have one created here, and that is our client discovery. As everyone in legal knows, discovery is huge, right? E-discovery has a lot of in and outs to it. Collecting information is very vital. Being sure you have all the right documents and information ready for the case itself is quite paramount. So, we do realize that in terms of being in the legal space, and that's really where projects does shine. So I won't go through all projects. We do have tons of different webinars around projects to kind of go in through each one of these functions in detail. But really what matters today is the collection of data. So once I'm in the project section, you'll see a document request section here. And this is kind of where you can build out what you're actually looking for from the client to obtain, to help build the case itself. So again, just kind of using that example before of using a legacy folder, you may send a client an email with all the items, or maybe an Excel sheet of all the items that they require evidence-wise, documents, supporting information, things of that nature, where they then have to respond and upload that data to a folder. Where the document requests come in handy is that when we create this actual list, you'll see we have an organized list of all the items that I'm requesting from the client. Now, as you can see, I've already assigned this to John Smith over here. He is my client. I'm starting to gather these things, and I've assigned these items to them. First off, you'll want to notice up at the top, you have a very clear understanding bar graph of what all has been completed or is waiting on the client, is in review, or has been approved. So this really kind of gives you an overall understanding of how many items the client has given to you, or if you're just in review of them, or if you've approved them. Furthermore, you do have a due date that you can set when you create a document request list. So this helps basically if you need to remind the client of this happening, they will send automatic reminders via email to the client. This way they understand and are on task that they need to complete and send you certain information for the e-discovery. And as you can see here, I just have a general title and a description that the client can actually see as well. So you can be as descriptive as possible in case perhaps you're dealing with multiple cases with the client. You want to separate those in between. You can set a description here. So back over here, as you can see, again, we have all of the different usual suspects in terms of requesting information, things like correspondence, if there was correspondence that we're capturing for the case, if there's any reports or documents, any multimedia evidence, so video evidence, employee records, things of that nature can all be fit in within this document request. So once I establish this document request and I assign it to John Smith, that will actually send him over a notification via email that he's been added to a document request list. And once he logs in, he'll be able to see all of the tasks in an organized fashion, which I will show you the client side, because of course that's super important. We always kind of think as well, because I think Suraj put this very nicely, is that we always worry about client friction, right? Can the client log in? Can he access this platform? Is it easy for them to upload this information? And that's really where we are focusing a lot of our attention when it comes to document request. So again, I want to show you that client experience after I talk about the document request here as an employee when I'm looking through it. So let's take one point here, and this was a request for financial records. So if I want more information about this request, I can actually jump in and see what the due date is and make sure, of course, everything is in order. I can always move this due date out later. So in case we have time, we can move that out. So it's always editable in terms of moving that due date further in the future. One other big thing that you'll notice is we also have categories. This is actually somewhat of a new function within document request lists. The categories are just that. We can label certain requests based on a category. In this response here, I have a category that I manually set as records. Later on, I will show you just how these categories can help because they can assist with filtering that data and also downloading that data in case you need to, say, take that evidence and put it into another system or be able to actually digest it a little more better in a different program that can maybe view it in a different light. So first off, again, this went to John Smith. And as you can see, he actually sent us a bank statement. This was financial records. So this was the proper document that I needed. And I approved it. As you can see, that's the status. So when you're waiting for an actual document request list and it's waiting for the client, I'm waiting for John Smith to upload something. But once it does arrive, I can come in, look at the document, and then simply approve. I can also, once he uploads, I can reject the document that he sent and send it back over to the client, indicating that, hey, this was the wrong document. You need to upload a different document that pertains to this document request. I'll actually show you also, again, Suraj did mention it before as well, as we do have AI built in to help validate the right information that they're sending us before they click the submit button. So that's on the client side. I'll show that as well. But going back over to the final financial record, again, once they uploaded that document, as the employee, I can simply click on that PDF. And then as you can see here, this is just a simple demonstration of just a simple financial record. And I can review it. And again, I can approve it if it looks good. Again, I do have the capabilities of downloading it, copying it, and moving it within the project. We do have its own file section within the project that helps organize all of these files for you. So this really does help just make things a lot easier for the employee to find things. But yeah, it's very simple, as you can see, to get things moving, request documents on the fly. And as also you noticed here, we do have a comment section. So you can act as this as a chat, if you will, with the client. So I can go back and forth with the client and chat with them on this particular document request. And this way, again, we don't have to kind of pass emails back and forth and get kind of confused of what we're actually talking about. All right, so very quickly about the categories, as you see, I have all these different set, and you can always go into these and either manually set one up, so I can start typing a category and set a new category, or as you can see there, I have a set of categories that I've already manually set for the document request list that I could choose from easily from here. But if I wanted to use that category, and say, for instance, I only want to look for records within my document request list, I can look under my category and choose records, and then that will just sort any of the records that I have categorized within the document request list. Take out that filter so I can go back to my original view. Also, furthermore, I can come in here, and if I wanted just to download all of those records, I can just download all of the records based on the record category that I have set, and that will just help me, again, download those if I, again, needed to download them onto my local machine to look at them or examine them further with maybe another application. I have that capability very quickly to do that. All right, so just wanted to also show you, kind of going back over to the document request list side, there is a very easy way when you do create it. We give it a lot of different ways to do this. First off, we could start with a blank request, and that blank request you can just simply manually set up your different items within the document request list. I can actually create a template from John Smith's discovery, because say, for instance, this is the typical things I'm going to ask during e-discovery. I know that's probably not ideal for every case, but if I have a good starting point, I could use a template from one I created from John Smith's discovery. Or we can use the power of AI to help us perform this. So for instance, I can just start with a simple request name and then give it a due date. And as you can see here, of course, AI wants to know what industry I'm in. So of course, I'm using legal, and say I am a paralegal and I need to generate a list. Generate a typical e-discovery list for me. I could generate those items, and AI will do the work for you, and it will come back with a generalistic view of all the different items that may be needed in an e-discovery session. But this is a great way if you don't have a good starting point of what you need to ask. I'm sure you do, but if you want to see maybe perhaps something you are missing, this is a great way as a starting point to be able to bring those requests in. And by the way, you can customize this later on, especially also with a template. As I mentioned, if I like the items that are in John Smith's discovery, I can always edit that template and add additional items to it and resave it as a separate template. So you have very much flexibility when it comes to templates within projects, but that is very key when it comes to obviously due diligence and making sure that we can get things done quicker in a more meaningful manner, other than kind of starting from scratch. Right. Now, let me show you a little bit about the client portion of this. If you haven't seen this before, this is our new client portal. This is directly for clients that we're working with on projects. So again, within, say, my client's email, I'm going to get sent a request for interacting with my project once I assign it to them. So that will give them the notation of them being included. They'll have a link that they can click on, which will log them into their client portal. And then they'll actually see all the different open tasks that they have pertaining to the project. And as you can see, it looks like John Smith is in a few projects, or could have been in a couple different projects before, but if they were, they could select different projects so they can focus on the different projects that they're working with with the employee at the time. So for this instance, I know we didn't cover it, but we have also information requests, just like document requests. We can create a form of data that we need to collect, which is just purely information about the client. So as you can see, that is a task in that project I just showed that he needs to complete. And as you can see, it's a very simple form that he'll be able to fill out and send back over to the employee. And then we also have the document requests. So those are the ones that I just showed you. And as you can see, this one is pertaining to contracts and agreements, perhaps based on the case he's dealing with. He needs to upload certain means of that information to that document request. Now, as you can see, he already uploaded one thing. And one thing, just to save us a little bit of time, when John Smith uploaded this document, this obviously was the wrong file. We could tell based on, of course, the name of the file, but what we actually do in the back end with AI is help contribute to the document request if it's accurate based on the information that we're giving them. And as you can see, again, just saving some time, it already did the analysis. And this gives us a notation that, hey, might not be the right file that we're uploading to the document request list, and that will notate it to the client. So it could be that they just drag and drop the wrong item or went into the wrong folder to submit the document. So again, this is another way to help give them more validation when it does come time for them to upload those documents to you. But again, the client could simply come in here, add files, and then they can simply drag and drop an item into here and say, for instance, this is just a simple NDA that I did and I uploaded. And then as you can see, there's that analyzing file information there that will tell you that it's analyzing that file to be sure that it is accurately supposed to be the one that we are using for the document request list. But as you can see, within the client portal, we made it very much easier for the client to jump in, very task-based oriented. Though, if you are used to them accessing a client portal, or AKA a folder, they do still have access to that within ShareFile. So as you can see, I set up a client folder outside of projects that they can access all of the data that I've uploaded it to as well. So again, gives them a familiar look if they're used to ShareFile and accessing folders. But again, when they're interacting with projects, it's very an easier way for them to be very task-driven and access certain document requests right at their fingertips. So it's a very much get in, get out scenario, and less time, of course, fumbling around with certain files that don't pertain to us or don't pertain to the case. And again, you're going back and forth and losing time in terms of collecting that data. All right. So moving along, I did want to hit on a few of the other AI-driven capabilities that will help you save time. Just to show you what those are, is if you're an administrator, you can always come down to your admin settings, advanced preferences, and AI settings, and be able to see the collection of AI settings you have in here. As you can see, they can be toggled off. They're typically on by default. So again, if you're an administrator, you can come in here and review what each one actually does, a little bit more detail, maybe more time that we don't have here, but definitely if you're looking for more AI capabilities, this is a great way to learn more about what we actually have available. Do note that what I'm kind of going through is premium. I mean, I do want to make sure that everyone understands if you don't see the AI settings or projects or e-signature, which I'll go through at the end, those are our premium licenses. So if you don't see them, you could be on an advanced or another license structure. So if you are seeing to upgrade, definitely reach out to your account manager. We could definitely work with you to get you upgraded. All right, so let's go back, and I did want to show one of the great AI capabilities of document summary. Actually, let me go back here one more. I have a good document I can actually use here. Now, again, I'm back into my legacy folders. Perhaps I exported some files from the project, or I had a client upload certain things, or maybe I provided a client a document. But say, for instance, again, it might be a lengthy document, and I don't have time, obviously, to read through every word that's on this document. So as you can see, we have an AI assistant button at the top right. And then from here, as you can see now, I already went ahead and chose to summarize this document. And as you can see, it helped summarize this in a nice form. And the great thing that we have in here with the AI summarizer is that if you look, you have reference links here. And if you click it, this will help actually kind of demystify what this is actually talking about in a certain context. So these are, again, great for if you're looking for additional information for what it's actually summarizing in certain spots. This will give you nice reference capabilities of giving you a little bit more detail about what it's talking about. Furthermore, you can ask it questions as well. This theme to 2025. And the AI assistants will go do its work on the back end and shortly provide an answer. So again, you do have standardized ways of choosing more of the automatic things that you're thinking about already, summarizing the document. That's pretty particular. List the main points, find action items. If there's anything actionable in this document that I need to do, I'll find it. But furthermore, as again, you could see you could do prompts. As you can see, I said, does this pertain to 2025? And no, the document does not pertain to the year 2025. The document provides simplified legal citation guidelines for a class such as legal studies, environmental studies, and history for 30. So as you can see, it doesn't have anything to pertain to a particular year, but this has given us just information about the document itself. All right, now kind of coming back, I did want to also briefly talk about templates. And templates are just that, those are the points that I was telling you about in the projects where I can simply just template a project as a whole with all the information I put in there, or I can actually create a template just based on, say, the document request item. So it's not taking any of the client information that the client put in there, but it's just taking those questions that I set up in the document request that I require from the client in terms of those documents, and I could save it as a template. This also pertains to signatures as well, which I'll actually do a quick e-signature demonstration here before we wrap up. But this also could contain e-signature templates. So if you need to get a simple agreement document signed, you can also create a template of that directly in here. But this gives a nice location to help store those templates. And as you can see, it's all categorized based on that. So if we did have document requests like you see here, I've created one ahead of time. I can actually see it was created by me. And furthermore, if I had a colleague that was setting up a new project and they were looking for, say, that e-discovery document request list that I had, I can share it over to my colleague. And I could say like Suraj here. As you can see, Suraj is listed as employee. And then I can give him certain permissions, such as full control, which then he would have capabilities of editing the template and making changes. Or I could just say he's just allowed to use the template, say, with his project that he has going on. And then I could share again. So again, a very nice, easy way for you to organize all your different templates within ShareFile without trying to kind of run amok and figure out what template does what in different areas. Real quick, before I jump into e-signature, Suraj touched on a lot of the security aspect that we do here in ShareFile. Security has always been very much number one with ShareFile, with any kind of functionality that we come out with. One I did want to point out is that under our security policy, we do have capabilities like auto threat remediation. And these are different scenarios that can come into play when it comes to accessing your ShareFile instance. For instance, here, we do have an impossible travel. Impossible travel can equate to, say, somebody using a user and logging into ShareFile account from, say, 8 different countries in a very short span of time. Obviously, that's impossible, right? We couldn't have that user be in 8 different countries within an hour's period. So that kind of gives us a understanding that there's obviously something malicious going on here. So what happens is when that gets detected, a notification will go out to the administrator, help lock out that user, and then that administrator can help perform other tasks within the actual employee that we're speaking about or client. For this matter, say for instance, if you did get a link to somebody having some kind of malicious issue, it would take them directly over to the activity and security alerts. And then obviously here, this is pretty clean, but if it was impossible travel, it would notate that here, and then I can actually take more action. And actually, let me choose somebody else here for this, because you'll actually see additional things where I can log a user out, I could disable access, I can reset their password, and I can remove them from any folder that I'm on. So again, you can take that action very quickly and help, again, provide additional security and a bit of peace of mind. As you could see, obviously that was an automatic workflow in terms of detecting that impossible travel. It alerted the administrator, and then I'm able to take quick action as the administrator to lock it down. Right. With the remaining time we actually have, I did want to showcase our e-signature function. Again, this is a premium feature with ShareFile. And from here, as you can see, I have other attorney agreements and such going out. But what I can do is I can create a signature by scratch. From here, as you can see, I can drag and drop an agreement. And this is just a simple Word doc agreement. Oops, apologize. Should do it. That could actually be my browser. Let me just actually choose one that I have here in my legal folders. Actually, I have it in my documents here, agreements, and I could choose this associate attorney agreement. And then again, I can just start typing in the people that I need to have signed. Now, they don't have to be a client already in ShareFile, but for this instance, I went ahead and just used John Smith as usual to be a signer in here. As you can see, I can add additional recipients, or I can add myself to the signing process. So that's very easy. Or I can actually say that I'm the only signer. So this can be set up so that, hey, I just need to sign something to have something legally binding on this document, and I just need to sign it myself. And as you can see, if I had more than one signer, I can also set the signing order here as well. So I could simply go to next. And as you can see, again, very simple document, but we have a ton of different fields that can make this a lot more powerful in terms of certain agreements that you need to match. But as you can see, I just need a simple signature down here, just as an example. Oops. Sure why it doesn't want to, oops, let me grab this one. Is the document actually not allow me to? But as you can see, once I actually drop that in, it might actually yell at me. It's saying, of course, I didn't have a signature, but if I did put a signature in there from the next part, I can simply come in and tell it where to end up once that signature is done. So as you can see, I took that agreement document right from a document section in my folder section in ShareFile, so it can end up back at that originating location. Or I could tell it to, hey, I needed to drop it in John Smith's client folder. So the finishing or the end of the document, once it's signed, can result directly in that folder. Finally, I can add a little signature note here. So if there's any kind of description or information you need to add to it, the client will receive it as such. So they'll see that first. I also have an expiration option, so I can void, of course, the signature after so long. But if I give it these 30 days, they will get reminders getting closer to those 30 days if they haven't signed yet. And then lastly, we have additional security options, like I can add a passcode on top of the signature. So before they get into the signature, they would have to provide the passcode that I give them. And also we do have KBA as another source of truth, if you will, because KBA will basically test the client and ask them personalized questions to validate they are who they are. But then I could simply send that request off. That goes to John Smith, and then they will simply get that in an email. And I'll actually show that very quickly. There we go. We got that email into the client email box. And then all we would have to do for John Smith is click on it, and that will put him into the signing experience itself. And the great thing is this is all very well driven. So if I did have various fields and everything, it will walk him through each one before it's actually completed. So what it looks like when it comes back to us is when we come back into the folder, look at the agreements. We'll take this one as an example. This one was already signed by John Smith ahead of time. As you can see, we have a lot of various other different fields like checkboxes in terms of getting this agreement done. And then there we go. I have John Smith and my signature as the attorney on here. Then I have a complete signature certificate that I can actually use to review. And obviously, if I need to audit anything, I have that full audit down here and how everything transpired during the signing process itself. So as you can see, very easy to get that agreement going, come back into the ShareFile instance, be able to review and get to working in terms of working in the project to request documents. So very easy workflow in terms of getting it, and we make it very versatile in terms of having it coexist within ShareFile instead of having it being a kind of disjointed experience. Awesome. Thank you, Suraj, and thank you everybody for joining today, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day ahead.